This review was filmed during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the works being covered here wouldn't exist. I fully support both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA in their fight for fair treatment and compensation against a system that continually denies them such. While a full boycott has not been called for, SAG-AFTRA has asked that everyone who does media about film and TV refrain from promoting struck content during this time. From what I can tell based on guidelines released, independent reviews do not constitute promotion of work, but as critical assessment of a work of art. Any praise I give to these works should be seen purely as praise for the artists, writers, and actors who created it. If anything, the praise is emphasizing that the writers, actors, and other artists deserve more compensation because they are who make these works possible. Additionally, this video was not made using any studio-provided screeners or materials. Do not support any studios during the strike. If you want to know more information, there are links down in the description for you to follow. Well, we've reached the finale, and boy was it a finale, alright. Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest Minty reviews for Star Trek Strange New World, Episode 10, Hegemony. Hegemony? Hegemony. I don't know. I think it's Hegemony. Either way, we're at the finale. It's Episode 10, Finale, Hegemony. So, this episode is a lot. This episode is a lot, and it's even funnier how much this episode is coming after Subspace Rhapsody, which is a very lighthearted musical episode, to then follow with the finale being this. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So, non-spoilers first, followed by spoilers afterwards, as I do normally. Non-spoilers first. This episode is a lot. It is a lot. It is very much a finale episode. And this episode also brings back a classic Star Trek thing that modern Star Trek has not done in a very long time, if at all, which I'll mention in the spoiler part. But either way, this is a lot, and this is a very emotionally heavy episode, and also harkens back to a lot of, very coolly, a lot of classic science fiction, like alien invasion movies and such. Like a lot of like really classic, like War of the Worlds. This episode is a very good episode, and a very, very heavy episode that, like, once it starts, it just goes, and it does not stop or let up as it goes on. There's also some really, really cool stuff that happens in the episode, Star Trek canon-wise, I guess the best way to put it, was with some certain characters, and there's some great action in it, and some very, like, brutal emotional stuff that happens as well. This is a really strong finale, and that's about really all I can say in a non-spoiler. I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to see what happens next season, which we're gonna have to wait a while for because the strike's still going on, and, you know, support the strike, support the unions, all that stuff. So now let's get into the spoiler section here. So spoilers here, spoilers everyone. So in 3, 2, 1, the Gorn are back. Yes, so this episode starts off seeing this planet named Parnassus Beta, where we have a colony of people there who are under the protection of the Federation, but are not part of the Federation yet. And they've designed this colony to be kind of like a Midwestern 50s-style town, which is great thematically for the whole invasion aspect about to happen here. But we get the USS Chayuga there, which is Batel's ship. And also, Chapel is there as well, en route to her fellowship that she's there. She's kind of like hitching a ride, helping out as well as they help set up this colony. So, and they help like restock the colony as well. Well, while they're there, they see a shuttle crash, and then they see a massive Gorn ship come in. And by the time that this happens, the Enterprise, which is a pretty decent ways away, after we already have this like great emotional little talk between Batel and Pike as well, at the very beginning about making time for each other and like, you know, yep, we'll be all good, we'll all be all good. They get another message from Batel being like, hey, we're under attack by the Gorn, please send help, we need help now. And by the time they get there, they just see the wreckage of the Chayuga. It's just completely destroyed. And they see some Gorn ships coming. However, they're also informed that they can't actually go into the space, the area around Parnassus Beta, because that's technically Gorn-controlled space. And if they do that, that would be considered an act of war with the Gorn, and they do not want to start a war with the Gorn, even though the Gorn blew up a Federation ship. It's weird, like, international waters kind of thing. They blew them up in their space, so therefore they were trespassing on their space. Not that they knew it, but they were. The other incident, the other issue, is that when they get there, they find out that the Gorn have placed this device on the surface of the planet that is blocking all communication and all transportation. Like, all transporters, all communication, everything shut off. And La'an informs them that this is something that the Gorn do when they're invading a planet. To do this to basically make the entire population go blind so that they cannot get help. And Gorn are just, like, overrunning and attacking. So now we're in a tough spot here, where Starfleet's not coming to help, because they don't want to actually start an actual legit war with the Gorn. And we have the Enterprise here being like, well, we're going to go rescue whoever's still alive of the Chayuga that we can rescue. We're going to go rescue them, because we are not going to let them die on that planet. We're not going to let this planet become a Gorn breeding ground just because they were just happen to be in Gorn space. Like, we're not going to do that. But it would involve breaking direct orders, which, let's be honest, Pike is fine breaking direct orders from Admiral April. He's fine with that. But beyond that, the emotional aspect of it, of like, I'm going to go rescue Captain Batel. I'm going to go rescue her because I love her, I want her in my life, and I don't want her to die. Fair. So he gets a crew together of people that actually go down on the planet. A bunch of the crew volunteers that they want to go, like Spock volunteers to go, Una volunteers to go, all of them volunteer. However, they're like, no, you all stay here because I want to need your expertise on the ship in case we're actually able to communicate with the Gorn or find anybody on the ship. I need you to communicate with them. I need you to get there. And then his crew going down to the surface was him. Ortegas finally gets to go on a ground crew. She finally gets to go on a crew. It really sucks later, but she finally gets to go down on a landing party. Mbenga and Sam Kirk. Surprisingly, Sam Kirk goes down there because last time that he encountered the Gorn, Hemmer died, and he's like, I want to get there, I want to redeem myself, and I want to, learn more about them. To which La'an jokes, like, you want to learn how to kill them, right? It's like, well, we do need to know how to kill them. Yeah, that would be really helpful information to learn. So Sam wants to go down there to kill some Gorn, which, fair, understandable. He wants to redeem himself. We also find out at this point, Starfleet, since the last Gorn attack, have been developing weapons and devices to fight the Gorn. So they have, like, these new phaser rifles that just, like, pierce through the Gorn, like, body armor and, like, their scales and just instantly kill them, that's a good thing to have. And they have, like, trackers now that they actually track the Gorn, which is also good, too. So we get the ground crew to go down there. The planet is wiped, or like this colony is just destroyed. And it gives a lot of actual, like, visual kind of nods to classic, like, 50s alien invasion movies. And to definitely, like, I was getting major War of the Worlds vibes, as I mentioned in the non-spoiler section. Major War of the World vibes the whole time of, like, this alien invasion story. Them, like, attacking this, like out-of-the-way Midwest town in the 50s. Everyone's kind of, like, hiding in places. Also gave me a lot of vibes of, like, the opening of A Quiet Place 2, where you could see the invasion happen there, which is, again, normal, alien invasion stuff happening in movies. So, that was great. They get attacked by the Gorn. They kill the Gorn. They hide in a barbershop, which is obviously just kind of funny. Like, obviously nothing really major here, but it's just funny the fact that, Pike is like, let's hide in the barbershop. Like, of course the man with the best hair in the whole series hides in the barbershop. Of course he does. But anyway, they hide there, and they're like, we need to find the survivors. There's got to be survivors. And La'an's like, I don't think there are any, but there might be, knowing her whole history with the Gorn. So meanwhile, up on the Enterprise, they're also finding out the same thing that they're finding out on the planet of, yes, this thing that they have here is placed there to block communication. We need to take it out. If we take out that thing, then we can beam our people back, we can get our people back, and we can communicate with them. So they need to do this. They need to start figuring that out. There's a lot of just, like, tense feelings here between everything. There's, like, a lot of tension here for obvious reasons. Like, you have the ground crew on the planet dealing face-to-face with the Gorn, and they are trying to survive, and they're trying to find survivors if there are any. And you have the tension up on the Enterprise being like, well, we need to save our people one way or another, but we need to take out this communication relay that is clearly blocking our communication. So, there's a lot of tension there and a lot of, like, Star Trek-y stuff to try to figure out, but not even just Star Trek stuff, just, like, normal, like, tension stuff in an actual, like, drama sense, trying to figure out, like, we need to figure out what to do here, which is good, which is really, really great. So then, while they're on the planet, they get a signal of, like, a human signal of some sort, so they go track it, and they find out it's actually a trap. It's actually a trap. Like, oh god, no, the Gorn set a trap for them. But it wasn't the Gorn that set a trap for them. No, we get a really, really phenomenal introduction of a classic character, where we find out it was a trap set for the Gorn by one Starfleet engineer, Montgomery Scott. Scotty himself makes his first appearance in the show, and it's honestly a great first impression, where also he is embodying embodying classic Scotty as well from TOS, which is phenomenal. But he basically tells him, like, yeah, no, I jury-rigged this device to track, to like, confuse the Gorn, to basically make them think that they were coming after actual, like, human sense or whatever, and I was going to trap them in here and then deal with them later. And he knows where the survivors are of the Chayuga and the civilization. So they go, they find them, they find out Batel's alive, they find out some of the other crew's alive, and they start helping him. They start, like, healing him, helping him, and everything out. But they also need to figure out, like, okay, well, we need to figure out how to get off the planet, how to deal these Gorn. And Scotty, at the same time, is like, well, here's the thing. I've been surviving because I built a cloaking device in a way to hide from the Gorn. And they're like, I'm sorry, what did you do? Like, what? Also, how are you here? So yeah, Scotty, being the genius that he is, the genius engineer that he is, he built a device to hide from the Gorn, to basically trick their senses and hide from the Gorn, which is really great. And he explains how he got there too, where the shuttle we saw at the beginning of the episode that crashed was his shuttle, and he was able to escape them in a shuttle from the ship he was on, the Star Diver, which was just like, a research ship. We find out from him that all this happened because of, for lack of a term, solar flares. There are these weird solar flares that happened that kind of sent the Gorn into like a frenzied mode to just start attacking everything and start just being like hungry for everything. So good thing Sam Kirk's here, as the xenoanthropologist, kind of just explains this, of like, okay, well, there are some creatures and some animals that do have like a sensitivity to solar radiation, to solar flares like that, so that could be something that happened. So with that, they kind of now have this idea of like, okay, the Gorn are affected by solar flare, solar radiation, solar something, so they can maybe use that against the Gorn, or trying to figure out what the Gorn are all about, or try to maybe communicate with them better, something like that. Just any way to understand the Gorn so we don't have a war with them, or if we do have a war with them, how to beat them. Good. However, Scotty needs more things to be able to build a bigger, hiding device, a bigger cloaking device for them, so he needs to go back to the shuttle. So after a emotional conversation with Pike and Batel, where Batel's like, hey, I'm going with you, I'm saving my crew, I'm going to go with you, I'm going to help you out here because I don't want you to go out there and die. Scotty's also like, hey, y'all were talking like right next to where I was sleeping, so sorry for eavesdropping, but I'm going to go too because I'm the one who actually can build the thing we're trying to build. So they go out back on the Enterprise as well. They're also basically figuring out the same thing that they figured out on the ground, of they need to destroy the beacon, and they kind of figure out a plan. It's a risky plan, but they figure out a plan between Uhura and Pelia and Spock. Basically, the Gorn aren't attacking the debris, which is how they got on the planet to begin with. They went through the debris. So what if they attach like some mini rocket boosters to a big piece of debris, which would be like the main dish of the Chayuga? What if they attach some mini rockets there, and then just like push it into the atmosphere enough, just make it like look like it's just floating over there, push it in the atmosphere enough, and then just guide it to just take out the tower that the Gorn set up. Perfect idea. Risky idea, perfect idea. So Spock does that. He gets in a suit, goes boom, puts it down. The other issue though with Spock is that obviously Chapel was on the Chayuga, and we find out from the survivors on the planet that she's not there. She had beamed back the Chayuga. So now it's an issue of like, oh god, is she dead? Did she die in the explosion of the Chayuga? Did she die there? Because they can't see medical. They don't know where medical bay is. Obviously, she has a bit of plot armor here. Just saying that. She's got some plot armor. She's in the original series, and I don't think they're changing the canon that much yet with Strange New World with the original series. So she's alive somewhere. We do find out she is alive in medical bay. She just got knocked out, but she rewires the ship, powers up some stuff again, gets some oxygen back going to the ship, and finds a Gorn, like an actual full like adult Gorn, I guess, in like a power suit, trying to like override the ship. So that's terrifying. The Gorn look badass though. Terrifying, but badass. I love how the Gorn look in this. The Gorn look scary as hell. And awesome. There's a lot of like imagery of Alien, of like Ridley Scott's Alien as well, with like how the Gorn's like hanging from the roof, like the tail everywhere, looking like a xenomorph. It looks picture perfect. Perfection. So after we get Chapel kind of hiding from the Gorn a bit, we then get Spock on the bridge of the Chayuga, right? On the bridge of this debris of the Chayuga, and he's setting the rockets down, he's setting the boosters down, and then he gets attacked by the Gorn. So then Chapel comes in, saves him, they fight the Gorn. It looks awesome. It just looks awesome. It's like big and imposing, but they fight it, and they're able to set off the boosters to go down to the planet, and they're able to get out of there. At the same time, on the planet, we have We have the ground team. We have all the people with the survivors that are helping them out and getting ready to beam off. And we have Pike, Batel, and we have Scotty back at the shuttle. And they're actually really close to this tower now. So they're at the shuttle trying to get this these parts and stuff that Scotty needs to, fix his relay, fix his thing that he needs to fix, and to get this device started. So he does all that, and then there's a Gorn in there, and the Gorn's about to attack him, but it stops right in front of Batel, and it doesn't attack, and it just runs away. At this point, watching it, you're like, oh no, there's only one reason why the Gorn didn't attack Batel, and it's a very obvious one. And Pike even asks her, like, it didn't attack you. What's going on? Like, I know what's happening here. Why didn't it attack you? Yes, she was like bit or something the previous day, and she's now been infected with Gorn eggs. So now Pike's even like, okay, I am definitely getting you back to medical now. We are definitely putting you into stasis, and we are going to get these Gorn eggs out of you because I don't want you to die. And that's basically how the episode is going to go up and set up to end. So they crash the shuttle, the disc, into the tower, blows the tower up, they get communications back, they're able to talk to everyone again, and they start beaming everyone up. So we see them beam up Scotty, Pike, and Batel onto medical. Chapel's there with Spock. They have to basically immediately go to their stations because they're like, hey, we need you at these places. You can't have like any like emotional stuff going on right now. We need you to get to their places to help. And we also see the survivors and the ground crew get beamed up, but not by the Enterprise and not by Starfleet beaming. We get to see like a weird green beam going up, and it's like, oh no. And then more Gorn come in, more of them are attacking, and we basically find out that the survivors were taken by the Gorn, and now there are a bunch of Gorn attacking, and then Pike is left with the choice of he's being told by Admiral April, you need to retreat now. We are not starting a war with the Gorn, and you will not be able to survive this. You do not want to end up like the Chayuga. So he needs to now make a choice of, do I leave part of my crew behind and all these survivors behind? Clearly no. Or do I leave, or do I like fight and possibly die, and then everyone dies? So it leaves out with a choice, and then it pops up on the screen, big letters, to be continued. They brought back the end of season cliffhanger like they used to have in original series and Next Generation, DS9, all of them. They brought back the end of season cliffhanger with a big old to be continued, which sucks even more because they aren't even filming season 3. They're supposed to be filming season 3 back in May. Then all the strikes happened. Support the unions. Support the WGA. Support SAG-AFTRA. We need these shows back. We need these shows to start filming, and we need to get them paid. But it ends with a big cliffhanger, and that's where the season ends. The season ends with us not knowing the choice. And what choice does Pike make? Does Batel live or die? Does Ortegas and Benga and La'an live or die? Well, obviously Mbenga, just like Chapel, has a little plot armor. He's in the original series. But do the other two die? Like, what happens with them? Is this why Kirk has such an animosity toward the Gorn? Is it because La'an died at the hand of the Gorn? Is that why he hates the Gorn now? But what happens with all these people? And we don't know. We don't know, but it ends with a big old cliffhanger. It's like, Star Trek. But we also get Scotty. We get Scotty on the ship. He's working with Pelia now. Pelia has a funny thing of like, yeah, you were literally one of my best students in my classes, and your grades were terrible. You were a genius, but your grades were bad. And he's like, I know, I'm sorry, but it's great. So that's the finale of Strange New World Season 2. They ended off with this big Gorn attack. So now I'm just left wondering, will Season 3, whenever they start doing it, whenever they're actually able to start doing it, will Season 3 have a multi-episode arc of this Gorn attack, of like the Gorn War, which I don't know if it's actually a thing in Star Trek canon, if there was ever a war with the Gorn or not. So are they doing like a Gorn war, like they did with the Klingon War in Discovery, and like they did the Dominion War in DS9? Like, will they do a Gorn war? Will that be the season arc? Will that be a couple episode arc? Like, what are they going to do with that? It's going to be very intriguing. But also beyond that as well, I'm really intrigued to see more about the Gorn in general, because the Gorn are a really interesting alien species here, where we've seen now the babies, who are like bestial hunters. We've seen like old Gorn, which we saw in the original series, fighting Kirk, and that looks like a sleaze tack from Land of the Lost. But like, what's in the middle? Like, we've seen a little bit of the middle now with like one Gorn that's attacking Chapel and Spock. But like, where are the Gorn that actually built starships that can go to hyper, that can go to like warp drive, like warp speed? Where are like those really nasty, scary Gorn at? I want to see those Gorn. I want to see them. So, are we going to see more of them? But all those questions are hopefully going to be answered in Season 3, or at least shown in Season 3. I'm really invested in this show. I'm really invested in this cast. And this is one of those series, it's one of the few series where like everything is just hitting so perfectly that I'm really hoping they're able to actually start filming again. And I really hope these strikes are able to get over soon, and everyone's able to, get what they rightfully deserve, and the unions are able to get what they rightfully are asking for as well. And the studios learn that as well, because I really, really want this show to continue, and I really want to see more of this show. And everyone who works on the show wants to see more of the show too, but we need to get through the strikes first, obviously. But that's my review of the season finale, Hegemony of Star Trek Strange New World Season 2. It was phenomenal. This was a phenomenal season from beginning to end. Really no low episodes at all. They were all great in their own way. And these last like 4 or 5 episodes were just honestly kind of perfection in their own various ways. And it's even funnier the fact that the previous episode was a musical episode. And it actually linked right into this one with a lot of actual like callbacks and character moments as well. Great stuff. So let me know down in the comments as well, what do you think about this season, and what do you think about the season finale as well, and about that big cliffhanger, and what do you think is going to happen in next season when it actually starts? What do you think is going to happen at there as well? And if you like this review as well, want to see more, leave a like. It helps out in the YouTube algorithm, helps out as well for the data of the channel and all that stuff. Not that anybody really cares about the data. Hell, I don't even really care about the data either, but I do like seeing the number go up. That number going up is a nice thing as well, because big numbers mean cool things and mean fun things. But if you want to see more from the channel as well, like these reviews and want to see a lot more, go ahead and subscribe as well. It's completely free, and you'll be able to see everything that I post and everything I post in the future as well. And if you want to see more as well, right over here is going to be a playlist for another series you can watch as well. It'll be a reaction series of something. And over here is going to be a video that YouTube recommends for you as well. And until next time, stay gorning, everyone, and stay hoping that we get a Season 3. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace, everyone. Peace.